Alone at midnight. The devastating truth of male concubinage in historic Japan. It was a night like no other, shrouded in shadows and whispers, as the moon cast an eerie glow over ancient Japan. In a bustling village of whispers and secrets, nestled between the mountains, a dark truth loomed, waiting to be unveiled. What if I told you there existed a hidden world, where male concubines roamed the halls of power, serving a select few women of the highest status? Within these walls, they painted a portrait of loyalty, yet held beneath that surface, a tempest of betrayal awaited. This wasn't just history. It was a scandal wrapped in silk robes, echoing with the cries of hearts once broken. In this realm of the past, men were not merely warriors but became shadows in a woman's world, bound to serve by obligation and desire. Can you imagine the weight of that existence? The tension in the air thickening, every glance exchanged felt electrifying, a web of connection laced with unspoken threats. Duty hung like a heavy cloak on their shoulders, juxtaposed against their whispered dreams of freedom. Confinement by choice or fate. Hands trembled with secrets, and eyes darted nervously in fear of discovery. The air crackled with danger, but the strangest part? It wasn't the men who held the knife to the heart of societal norms. It was the powerful women, wielding authority like a sword. Their laughter echoed through the halls, while their concubines waited silent, obedient, yet wild with the fire of ambition. Wanting more, needing escape. Oh, the irony. Even amidst such passion, a thick tension hung in the air, as if the very fabric of this society could unravel at any moment. Who would break first? Where was the line drawn? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the clock ticked toward midnight, a soft sound broke the silence. A door creaked open, revealing a figure cloaked in dripping shadows. Eyes wide with anticipation, he moved cautiously, stepping into the uncertain territory where honor and desire collided. A single candle flickered, casting haunting shapes on the wall. The hidden truths were about to spill like ink on parchment. What secrets did those darkened halls keep? What truths, buried beneath layers of silk and obligation, would surface? The night held its breath, as did he. The air felt thick with unspoken words, the flickering candle casting ghostly shapes that danced along the walls. Heart pounding in his chest, the figure took another step forward. It was now or never. Each creak of the wooden floor beneath him echoed in his ears, sounding like distant whispers ready to spill the secrets long buried in these halls. As he ventured deeper into the darkened chamber, the scent of jasmine lingered, heavy and intoxicating. It was both a comfort and a curse, a reminder of the women who wielded power like a spellbinding enchantment. He spotted the familiar richness of embroidered silks draped over furniture, the delicate fans set aside, as if they had just been used to conceal longing eyes. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke through the stillness, bringing him to a halt. He wasn't alone. His breath hitched as he stared into the darkness opposite him. A pair of eyes glimmered faintly, trapped in the shadows. The figure stepped out, his fellow concubine, Hiro, a man whose allegiance danced between loyalty and treachery. Hideki, Hiro whispered, voice barely audible, yet carrying a weight he couldn't ignore. What are you doing here? Hideki shook his head, urgency clawing at his throat. I need to find out what they're planning. The whispers about Lady Masumi, it can't be true. Lives hang in the balance. Hiro's eyes widened. Greed and fear warred within them, a collision of emotions that painted a vivid picture of the danger they both faced. Think carefully. If the wrong ears hear, what choice do we have? Hideki interjected, desperation bursting through him. We serve them, but we're not fools. We can't let them ruin us. I feel it in my bones, Hiro. Something dark is brewing, and tonight is the night to uncover it. A shiver coursed through the shadows as if the very room had inhaled deeply, bracing for the tension that crackled like lightning in their silence. Hiro nodded, though reluctance dripped from his posture. You're right, let us discover the truth. They moved quietly, the weight of their history a constant reminder that they were bound to this world, but perhaps not forever. Veering through the winding corridors, Hideki felt his stomach twist. Every echo of laughter he heard, every whisper just out of reach, made him lose focus. He understood, in that moment, how fragile the threads of loyalty truly were. They approached an ornate door tucked at the end of a passage, standing proud and defiant, guarded by the glowing golden symbols of wealth and superiority. Behind that door, Hideki felt that dark truth pulsing. Whatever lay behind would not only uncover the mysteries surrounding Lady Masumi, but may very well change the course of their lives. Ready? Hiro asked, voice barely more than a breath. Ready, Hideki replied, determination igniting a fire in his eyes. With a deep breath, they pushed the door open, each creak resonating with both apprehension and boldness. Inside, the flickering lamplight revealed the figures huddled together, speaking in hushed tones. Hideki's heart raced. This was at the moment of truth. But just as they stepped into the room, the chamber fell silent. All heads turned, shock morphing into something darker in the glint of those eyes. The air thickened with tension, and in the silence, a woman's voice broke through, cold as steel. Who dares to enter uninvited? As the weight of the gaze settled on him, Hideki felt ice trickle through his veins. What had they stumbled into? And at that moment, he understood the shocking revelations were just beginning to unfold. The real danger didn't lie in mere whispers, but in the hushed betrayals among them. The lines drawn had become blurred. Would they emerge unscathed, or was this the conclusion of their silent rebellion? The night wasn't finished yet, and neither was the truth. What awaited them was a tangled web of deceit that threatened to ensnare them all. The silence that enveloped the room was deafening. Hideki's heart thundered against his ribcage as he stood there, frozen, exposed in front of the expectant eyes glaring back at him. Lady Masumi's voice cut through the stillness with the precision of a dagger, and all Hideki could do was fight to gather his thoughts while Hiro shifted nervously beside him. Answer me, Masumi commanded, scrutinizing them as if she were peeling away layers of their souls. Hideki stammered, his usual confidence dwindling rapidly. Was this the end of their quiet rebellion? A moment of panic surged as he opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Unbeknownst to him, Hiro's own fear twisted his features into grim understanding. He stepped forward, a desperate attempt to shield Hideki from the wrath of the lady. We meant no harm, my lady. We heard whispers. We just wanted to understand. The tension in the room was palpable. It was as if a storm was gathering, ready to unleash its ferocity at any moment. Lady Masumi's expression shifted from mere annoyance to something darker. The edges of her lips curled into a smirk that sent chills down Hideki's spine. Understand? She echoed, reveling in their vulnerability. You wish to understand the intricacies of a world you can hardly grasp? You peek behind the curtain, but it is wiser to stay in the shadows. With a flick of her wrist, she summoned a tall man cloaked in dark fabric. His presence was commanding, and Hideki felt an instinctive shiver of dread. The man approached, sharp eyes fixed on the two intruders, scanning them as if sizing them up before a duel. Do you wish to know the truth? Masumi challenged, her voice dropping to a whisper that could slice through flesh. Her intensity softened, momentarily, as she leaned forward. It comes at a price. The gravity of her words pulled at Hideki. Inside him, a tempest raged. What cost would they have to pay? Would betrayal be forged anew with this pursuit? Hideki inhaled sharply, glancing at Hiro. They were intoxicatingly deep in this mire, and there seemed to be no retreat. I refuse to play games, Hiro spoke out, a new fire igniting in his spirit. Whatever the truth, we will face it. Masumi laughed lightly, a tinkling sound that was laced with sharp edges. The bravado of youth. But tell me, do you truly believe facing it will spare you? You're already buried. Ask yourself what soil you wish to be watered by. The menace hung heavily in the air, filling the room with an uninvited chill. It struck Hideki, planting suspicion and doubt deep into his heart. Instinctively, he questioned the resolve of their undertaking. What had been a quest of bravery now felt like ignorance teetering on the edge of a precipice. Masumi lifted a delicate hand, a signal, and instantly the atmosphere shifted. The shadows darkened, closing in on the trio. The other figures in the room edged closer, their faces illuminating in flickering light and fear. This was not a gathering of allies. It was a conspiracy amid cloaked intentions and unanswered desires. You seek knowledge, yet knowledge has its own hunger. Before she could elaborate, more figures stepped forward. As Hideki's pulse raced, words caught in his throat when a voice broke through sharp and accusing. Did you really think it would be that easy? To uncover her secrets and walk away unscathed? The tension escalated, racing towards a crescendo. Suddenly, every eye in the room turned towards a door on the far side, the one they hadn't noticed before, hinting at hidden truths that threatened to swallow them whole. The doorknob shook, prompting anxiety to bubble within Hideki. What awaited them beyond that door? And would they be ready to face whatever truths it held? The insistent thrum of his heart echoed deep inside as the door creaked open, revealing a darkness more suffocating than the very shadows that cloaked them. Would they step forward and face the torment tied to Lady Misumi's legacy, or retreat into the anonymity of evening light? Only one way to find out, and the truth beckoned, tantalizing and terrifying. The door swung open, dragging Hideki and Hiro into an abyss that seemed to swirl with unseen forces. The light from the room behind them flickered like a dying star, casting long, grotesque shadows that twisted and writhed on the walls. Hideki could feel an invisible hand pulling at him, urging him to step inside, to confront whatever lay before them. A low, menacing hum filled the air, vibrating through him like a warning bell. As they crossed the threshold, his instincts screamed to turn back. But where could they flee? They were already ensnared in this web, and retreat would lead them back to Misumi's piercing gaze. Together, Hiro whispered beside him, but even his voice trembled. There was no comfort in numbers when the darkness felt alive, whispering their fears back to them. Inside the darkened space, the room reeked of stale air and unspoken secrets. Shelves lined the walls, filled with dusty tomes and strange artifacts that spoke of ancient rituals. In the center, a table stretched beneath a heavy fabric, dark and foreboding. Hideki's heart raced as he stepped forward, drawn like a moth to the flame. Suddenly, Hiro's hand shot out, gripping Hideki's wrist. "Wait," he urged, his voice low. This could be a trap, but the urge to uncover the truth overpowered him. He pulled gently from Hiro's grasp and moved closer to the table. As he reached for the fabric, a loud crack echoed through the room. It felt like thunder, shaking the very ground beneath them. Hideki froze, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He realized they were not alone. From the shadows emerged figures cloaked in the same darkness as the room. Their features were obscured, but the unmistakable gleam of weapons caught the dim light. They moved quietly, as if gliding on air, and a wave of panic shot through him. Hideki's breath caught in his throat. "Who dares trespass?" One voice intoned, heavy with authority and malice. Hiro stepped forward, a defiance coursing through him. "We're here seeking the truth. We have a right to know." Before he could finish, a figure lunged from the shadows, disarming Hiro in a swift, fluid motion. "The truth? You can't handle the truth." The figure laughed, a cruel sound that echoed against the stone walls, amplifying the growing dread. Behind them, the door slammed shut. The sound reverberated like the closing of a coffin. Hideki's chest tightened. Panic was now a living entity, clawing at his mind. They were trapped, locked away in this tomb with what felt like predators lurking in the dark. Lady Misumi's smirk flashed through his mind. This was a game to her, one they had unwittingly become pawns in. "Look around," another cloaked figure said, his voice dripping with anticipation. "Understand the truth? You're about to witness the consequences of your curious souls." Hideki's fingers trembled as they brushed against the edge of the dark fabric on the table. He flicked it aside, heart pounding as he revealed an ominous array of objects, each one imbued with a haunting history. Vials filled with murky liquids, intricate knives etched with strange symbols, and a journal, pages yellowed and fragile. What had they stumbled upon? The weight of their choice settled heavily within him. Despite the fear, a flicker of determination ignited. They had come too far to turn back now. "Whatever it is, we need to face it," he whispered, rallying his courage. But before he could speak again, a great shout erupted from the shadows. and everyone turned as lights spilled into the room. The figure that had been just a silhouette emerged, and in the sudden glare, a familiar face was revealed, one that sent shockwaves through Hideki. "Who invited you?" Her voice was ice, wrapping around him with sinister familiarity. The air hung thick with tension as the figures retreated, closing ranks. And there, framed by the stark light, stood someone Hideki never expected to see. Someone who held secrets that could change everything. "Welcome," she said, her smile unfurling slowly, to the heart of the deception. The truth loomed before them, terrifying and inevitable. What would they learn? What had they awakened? As the shadows shifted, Hideki understood that despite their actions, the real game had only just begun. Would they find the courage to face what lay ahead, or were they merely pawns in a battle far larger than themselves? The moment hung like an unspoken promise, heavy with a dread that swirled around them like smoke. Hideki felt the cold grip of fear tightening around his heart. In that moment, he forgot they were two and not alone. He took a step back, but Hiro was frozen beside him, eyes wide. The face from his past, looking eerily similar yet altered, filled him with a deep-seated terror. "Masumi?" Hiro's voice broke the silence, barely above a whisper. "Masumi," she echoed, her expression playing with shadows of triumph and malice. "I see you remember me." Hideki's pulse quickened. The memories stirred her laughter, her cunning, her mysteries wrapped tightly like a ribbon around a gift he never wanted to unwrap. "What are you doing here?" Hiro asked, the defiance returning to his voice, masking his evident fear. "We're not afraid of you." Masumi's teeth glinted in the strange light. "Oh, but you should be. You're in deeper than you know." Suddenly, there came a rustle from the shadows, and Hideki's heart leapt. The cloaked figures shifted, circling them like wolves scenting a fresh kill. Hideki felt their eyes on him, piercing through the veil of darkness. There were so many of them. Could they really fight back? Feeling the weight of the journal in his hand, Hideki lifted it instinctively. The words, though faint, beckoned him like a whisper lost in translation. "What is this? Some kind of trap?" His voice trembled, thick with uncertainty as he opened its fragile cover, revealing pages filled with unfamiliar symbols and drawings ceremonial rites depicting sacrificial rituals that sent chills up his spine. "Power comes at a price, dear Hideki," Masumi said, as if reading his thoughts. "And you found yourself standing at the brink of a great revelation." The journal dropped from his hands, thudding against the wooden floor with a finality that shocked the silence. The pages flared open, a gust of wind catching the leaves and sending them fluttering like moths drawn to a flame. Hideki felt his control waver as a wave of visions flooded his mind, dark rituals from the past, the struggles of men chained to the whims of power, and unearthly whispers guiding their destinies. "You don't get to choose your fate here," one of the figures growled, stepping closer. The voice was gravelly, like stones scraping against skin. "And you certainly don't get to walk away. Please, just tell us what you want." Hideki yelled, desperation pushing the words from his throat. "We wanted only answers." Masumi's eyes glinted with a condescending amusement. "Is that so? Perhaps it's not answers you seek, but an introduction to your true selves." Before he could process her meaning, the air around them shifted. The shadows twisted, morphing into shapes that were vaguely human yet grotesque. The room seemed to thrum with anticipation, the figures moving closer as if drawn to a collective need for chaos. "Hideki! Hiro! Run!" The commanding shout burned through him like ice on fire. But it was too late. The shadows surged, razor-sharp, like claws reaching for them. Hideki's instincts kicked in, and he pushed Hiro ahead, adrenaline screaming in his ears. They darted towards the nearest wall, praying for an exit, only to find it closing in around them, thickening like a veil of despair. Masumi laughed a mocking, chilling sound that cut through the chaos. "You can't escape what you carry within you." With every heartbeat, the truth echoed in Hideki's mind. Each fragment of knowledge they sought clawed at the edges of their consciousness. The truth was entwined in Masumi's words, and it was more terrifying than anything he could have imagined. "Hideki!" Hiro shouted in the thickening darkness, clutching at him, eyes wide with panic. As they pushed against the weight of the shadows, fear turned to something more, a sense of foreboding that ignited a spark within, simmering just beneath the surface. But before they could grasp it, a figure loomed closer, face shrouded in dark fabric, whispering secrets that could tear them apart or bond them together. The figures started to close in, the room, trembling with violent energy as the very air became charged. Faces will be revealed, loyalties will tremble, Masumi said ominously, stepping back as the darkness swallowed her in shadow. In that moment, Hideki knew something was coming, a revelation, a choice, a nightmare. But time slipped away, and just as the darkness threatened to swallow them whole, a blinding light pierced through, illuminating a path that seemed impossible. "Hold on," he screamed, tethering Hiro as they hurtled toward the light. And then, as hope flickered like a dying ember, Hideki realized that to survive, he must uncover the very truth Masumi had hinted at. What could that truth cost them? The game was on, and they were only just beginning to play. The light enveloped them, a raging fire that pushed back the shadows like waves crashing against a dark shore. Hideki squinted against the brilliance as he and Hiro tumbled through, their bodies still buzzing with fear. For a moment, time stood still, suspended in an electrifying instant that felt both eternal and fleeting. They landed hard on a stone floor, the impact jolting the breath from their lungs. A shiver danced down Hideki's spine as he pushed himself upright, his heart still racing. The world around them began to come into focus, revealing a vast hall bathed in a golden glow, its high ceiling lost in an ethereal mist. Silken tapestries hung from the walls, vibrant colors swirling in elegant patterns, whispering secrets of art and history long forgotten. "We made it," Hiro gasped, brushing dust off his clothing, a mix of relief and anxiety flooding his eyes. "But where are we?" Hideki's gaze darted around, barely noticing the intricate design of the floor beneath him, a massive symbol etched into the stone, pulsating like a heartbeat. "I don't know, but this feels like a sanctuary of sorts." "Or a trap," Hiro whispered, his voice barely above a murmur, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Before Hideki could respond, a low chuckle rippled through the air, rich and velvety, as if someone had spun a tale from the echoes. "Welcome, little intruders," a voice purred from the shadows, deep and smooth like dark chocolate. "You've traveled quite a distance, haven't you?" Masumi emerged from the mist, her presence striking yet familiar, as if she had stepped from a painting, the light bending around her and casting an enchanting glow. "Did you think you could escape so easily? You still have much to learn about the power you seek. We're not playing your games anymore," Hiro shouted, anger flaring in his voice, whirling around to face her. "Whatever you want, we won't let you control us." Masumi merely smiled, her lips curling into a smirk that sent a chill prickling over Hideki's skin. "Control? Oh, dear boy, it was never about control. It's about understanding the truth that binds you both and how willing you are to embrace it." Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled, and shadows coiled around the stone symbol, rising like thick fog. Hideki felt a compulsion, a pull, urging him closer to the design on the floor. "What is this place?" he stammered, fear mixing with a bizarre curiosity that gnawed at him. "It's where paths converge," she explained, gliding forward gracefully, her eyes never leaving them. "A threshold between worlds that few have traversed. This is where your fates intertwine." "Fates?" Hideki echoed, confusion bubbling inside him. The weight of Masumi's words pressed down like a merciless fog. "What do you mean?" "Every choice has a consequence, boys," she said, her voice low and conspiratorial. "You've both already chosen without knowing. The question is, will you dare to forge ahead, or will you retreat to blissful ignorance?" As she spoke, the shadows emerged from the ground, twisting into familiar shapes, figures from Hideki's past, friends long lost, and enemies he feared. They lunged at him, faces contorted with emotions he couldn't decipher. "No!" Hideki screamed, backing away, feeling the heaviness grow within the hall. The symbol began to vibrate, resonating with his fear, feeding off his dread. Hiro grabbed his arm, fear stark in his eyes. "We can't let them in. We have to fight." "What do we do?" Hideki shouted, the sound of their past echoing horrifically around them. Suddenly, the air crackled, and a new presence brushed past. A blinding light shot forward, momentarily stunning the figures, leaving Hideki breathless. Embrace the truth. Masumi's voice rang out, clear and insistent, piercing through the chaos. Only then will you be free. As the shadows coiled back, Hideki felt the pull once more, deep within him. It was a truth so profound, so ready to explode, and yet he could hardly breathe. What truth could be so devastating? Just then, something surged from the depths of the symbol at their feet, brilliant light, swelling to encompass them, threatening to unravel the very fabric of their reality. Hideki, Hiro, stand together now. A deep, resonant voice exploded around them, asserting authority like thunder in the distance. And in that moment, as the world spun and light consumed them, Hideki realized they faced a choice that could alter everything they ever knew, a decision burdened with the weight of their very souls. Could they truly face the truth together, or would the shadows of their past pull them apart? The very fabric of their destinies beckoned, suspended in a balance waiting to tip. The light surged, swallowing them whole. Hideki felt a force pulling him down, a weight pressing upon his chest as the world flickered. He gasped for air, but it felt like trying to breathe underwater. The golden light transformed into swirling shadows, and his mind teetered on the edge of panic. No, we need to stay together. Hiro's voice pierced through the chaos, frayed and desperate. Hideki instinctively reached for him, their fingers connecting for a fleeting moment before their surroundings morphed into a swirling vortex of color and sound. Then, silence. They were standing in a small, dimly lit room, the air heavy with the scent of incense, and something sharper, more metallic. With each blink, the edges of the space solidified, revealing a low table laden with delicate pottery and crumpled parchment. Hideki's heart sank as he recognized the symbols sketched in ink across the aged paper. They were echoes of the symbol on the stone floor. What happened? Hiro whispered, his voice trembling. I think we're still in the same place, but Hideki faltered, taking in the surrounding. The walls were lined with shelves filled with dusty books and artifacts, remnants of a history that seemed to watch them, judging. The shadows seemed to linger just out of sight, malign shapes lurking in corners, waiting for an opportunity to strike. It's a trap, Hiro muttered, backing toward the door. We need to get out of here. But when Hideki turned, the doorway had vanished, replaced by an impenetrable wall, the stones thumping with a heavy finality. His heart raced. We can't leave. We need to face this. A faint murmur rose in the air, like voices whispering secrets from the past. Hideki couldn't make out the words, but they felt familiar, an unsettling recollection tugging at his mind. Hideki, Hiro said, his voice trembling with dread. What if Masumi is right? What if this place holds answers? What if the truth is hidden here? Suddenly, an overwhelming force exploded from the floor, and the symbol glowed brighter than before, illuminating the shadows with an eerie light. Images flickered within the glowing design, moving like a film, bringing to life scenes that made Hideki's stomach churn as he saw himself wearing a mask, standing before an audience that murmured in awe. But as he leaned closer, the faces in the crowd twisted into grotesque forms, merging with those he had lost: friends, mentors, memories laden with guilt and regret. It felt like a mirror reflecting the dark corners of his soul. Is that what we are? Just shadows of our past? Hiro's voice cracked, breaking through the echoing images. Hideki, we have to break free. Not yet, Hideki breathed, eyes widening at the intensity of what played out before him. The shadows began to shift, becoming figures the very ones who haunted him. Their gazes, piercing and accusing, bore down on him, demanding answers. Embrace the truth, a whisper beckoned, echoing Masumi's once familiar voice, now chilling and distant. Are you ready to face what you've denied? Fear gripped him, twisting like a knife in his gut. He wanted to turn away, to close his eyes and shut out the pain. But something deep within urged him forward. Hiro, if we don't confront this together, we'll be consumed. Hiro's hand trembled but tightened around Hideki's. Whatever it takes. We have to confront it together. With a shared breath, they stepped closer to the pulsing light of the symbol, shadows swirling around them, weaving between the past and the present. As their hands clasped tightly, a fractured memory broke free, clawing at Hideki's consciousness. Then it happened, a jarring realization, the truth unfurling like storm clouds, dark and relentless. Whatever they faced now wouldn't just change their futures. It would unravel the very fabric of who they thought they were. The shadows closed in, whispering secrets that would drag them back into their own depths of darkness. Are you ready? Hiro asked, his voice steadying despite the impending doom. The light intensified, and as they drew near, Hideki's heart thundered. The truth awaited, ready to ensnare them in its tight grip, as thunder rolled ominously in the distance. They were on the brink of a revelation that would shatter everything. Could they confront this truth, or would it consume them whole? The moment they stepped toward the glowing symbol, the world around them seemed to hold its breath. Hideki felt the air thicken, laden with anticipation and dread. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices intertwining, pulling him into a tempest of memories he had long tried to forget. He felt Hiro's grip tighten, anchoring him against the tide of chaos. The light pulsed like a heartbeat, each thrum resonating deep within Hideki. Shadows blurred into shapes, silhouettes of those he once cherished morphing into specters of regret. The memory of Masumi hovered just out of reach, as fragmented as the images swirling around him, like shards of glass reflecting the worst decisions of his life. Hideki, Hiro's voice wavered. What if it's something we can't handle? I don't know, Hideki shouted, his voice cracking. He felt raw and exposed, each word dissecting the wall he had built to protect himself from the past. But we have to try. Suddenly, the shimmering light burst forth with an intensity that nearly blinded him. It crackled like static electricity, charging the air with energy. Embrace the truth, the voice echoed again. But this time it wasn't just Masumi's. It was a chorus, a multitude calling out, an acknowledgement of their shared pain and experiences. They stepped nearer, hearts pounding in unison. The glowing symbol began to morph, its edges dripping into blackness, like ink blurring on parchment. The flickering images sharpened, pulling strands from history into the present. Hideki glimpsed scenes of betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately, loss. Each moment a dagger that twisted deeper inside him. Hiro stumbled, the floor vibrating beneath their feet. What is this? This can't be real. His breath came in short gasps, eyes wide with terror. It is real. It's the truth we've fought to avoid. Hideki shouted back, desperation smoldering in his chest. We might not have a choice anymore. The swirling shadows lunged toward them, voices shifting into agonized cries. Figures materialized, familiar faces twisted in anguish, each one reminding Hideki of the paths that had led him here, to this moment. His parents, their disappointment heavy in the air, his friends, shattered dreams echoing in silence. Each shadow cried out, demanding acknowledgement. They were the ghosts of his choices. Stop, Hiro cried, raising a shaking hand. We can't do this alone. You can't do this alone. The intensity of the moment felt like a surging storm, wild and uncontainable. Every heartbeat sent tremors down Hideki's spine. No, we can't, he breathed, all options fading like daylight. Suddenly, a deafening crack resonated through the room, and the symbol flared one last time, illuminating everything in a blinding white light. Hideki shielded his eyes but felt the urgency die down, only to be replaced with a thick blanket of silence. Where are we? Hiro murmured, his voice breaking the calm like glass shattering. Before Hideki could respond, a shadowy figure emerged, a silhouette against the blinding light, clear and defined. It took a step forward, and even the swirling shadows bowed in reverence. It looked like Masumi, but different, as if she had ascended beyond time, back to them with purpose. Are you ready to face your regrets? She asked, voice echoing with an otherworldly authority. Hideki's heart raced at the question. The weight of unseen burdens hung heavy on his shoulders. The truth was tantalizingly close, yet terrifyingly uncertain. What secrets had he buried so deep that they manifested here, in this storm of memories? I don't know if I can. He managed, his voice barely above a whisper. Masumi's gaze pierced through the murkiness surrounding them. You are not alone, Hideki. Your truth will not consume you if you choose to fight for it. In that suspended moment, Hideki felt an unfamiliar strength surge within him. He met Hiro's glance, their eyes communicating a shared resolution. They were ready, not just to confront the shadows, but to understand the truths that had long haunted them. But before they could take another step, the ground beneath them trembled ominously. Would they embrace the unveiling of their pasts? Or would they succumb to the tempest of their own making? The trembling escalated, a deep rumble shaking the earth as the figures of regret closed in. Hideki's resolve wavered, heart thumping like a frightened bird trapped in a cage. "What are you?" he called out to Masumi's apparition, panic lacing his voice. "I am the keeper of what was lost," she replied, her tone soft yet unbearable, like the frail wings of a moth drawn to flame. "To face your past, you must understand the cost." Hiro grabbed Hideki's arm, their uncertainty cracking like brittle ice. "This isn't right," he whispered, eyes darting around the ever-constricting darkness. "We should go now?" But Hideki stood frozen, the weight of his choices anchoring him. Past and present collided violently within him, a surge of memories unwilling to be contained. He saw himself as a younger man, foolishly confident, thinking he could outrun the shadows of his decisions. "Remember the day you lost me?" Masumi's voice cut through the chaos, piercing the haze of confusion that enveloped him. The image of her in the rain, tears mingled with water as she turned away, struck him like a fist. Regret poured over him, filling the crevices of forgotten guilt. "Stop!" he cried, as the air thickened with the scent of rain-soaked earth. "I can't handle this." "Face it, Hideki." The shadows grew bolder, rippling toward him like dark tides sweeping over the shore. "You can't run forever. You will either break or rebuild." "What does that even mean?" The tremors subsided momentarily, but the grounding sense of dread punched through him. He glanced at Hiro, whose face was twisted with fear and confusion. "I can't do this," Hiro shouted, shaking his head violently. "You have to choose. Fight or flee, Hideki." Hiro's words crashed against him like waves against rocks, forcing clarity through the fog. The whispers surged again, louder now, drowning him in the cacophony. They screamed the dark history he had tried to bury, the promises made and broken, the people who loved him and were hurt in return. "Enough!" Hideki yelled, fists clenched. "Masumi, why now? Why return as a ghost to torment me? Wasn't losing you enough?" The spectral figure stepped forward, her radiant eyes filled with an intensity that seemed to cut through the very fabric of the storm. "I am not here to torment you, but to guide you. The truth you fear holds the key to freedom. You live shackled by the chains of your past." Suddenly, the ground shook violently beneath them, as if the very earth was reacting to his turmoil. Shadows twisted and merged, forming a swirling vortex. Hideki felt himself drawn toward it, the abyss calling him to surrender. He clutched Hiro's arm tightly, their bond the only thing keeping him grounded. "Let us leave," Hiro pleaded, eyes pleading, but Hideki's thoughts spiraled in a different direction as he remembered the dreams of his youth, the hopes he had for the future, and how they had been crushed beneath the weight of secrecy and betrayal. Those desires had slipped away, but they flickered back, breathing life into him once more. "I want to be consumed by this," Hideki shouted defiantly, strength surging within him. The shadows paused, waiting, and for a moment, he felt a glimmer of hope piercing through the dark. "What do you need from me?" Hideki demanded, standing taller, clenching his fists as if ready to face anything. Masumi's expression softened. "Acceptance. You must confront the guilt that haunts you and embrace the hope that lies beyond it," she said, her voice now a calm balm amidst the storm. Before Hideki could respond, the vortex pulsed violently, an eruption of light and sound engulfing them, rapidly drawing them into its depths. "This isn't over," he screamed, just as the light erupted like a supernova, consuming everything in a blinding white as the brilliance enveloped them. Hideki could feel the weight of his regrets and hopes intertwining, the lines blurring around him. What awaited them in this all-consuming void? The answer hung just beyond reach, tantalizing and terrifying all at once. Would they emerge from the void, transformed and whole? Or would the light swallow them forever? The light swallowed them whole, spiraling into a brilliant void that seemed to stretch on for eternity. Hideki felt his heart thundering, a rhythm mirroring the pulsating glow surrounding him. Was this the end? Or perhaps a beginning he had never anticipated? Suddenly, The radiance began to fade, and as their surroundings coalesced, Hideki found himself standing on familiar ground, a serene field awash with wildflowers dancing in the gentle breeze. The sun hung low, casting a warm golden hue over everything. It felt impossibly tranquil, yet lurking in that calm was an undercurrent of urgency. "Hiro?" Hideki called, voice thick with urgency. Panic bubbled within him for a brief moment, until he heard a familiar response. "I'm here." Hiro stepped forward, eyes wide, shoulders tense as if expecting the shadows to re-emerge. "What just happened?" Hideki took a deep breath, attempting to steady the rush of emotions swirling within him. "I think we made it, but where exactly are we?" The flowers swayed around them, the whispers of the breeze like quiet echoes of their fears, yet a sense of relief washed over him. They had faced darkness, and somehow, they were still standing amid a clearer light. "I don't know, but this feels different." Hiro brushed off some petals caught in his hair, his expression softening as he surveyed their surroundings. Maybe it's a chance to finally let go." Let go, the words hung heavy between them. Hideki glanced around, letting the moment wash over him, filling him with a strange sense of peace. "Of everything we've been hiding from?" As if responding to his thought, a figure emerged from the distance, a silhouette framed by the fading sunlight. Hideki's breath caught. It was Masumi, but not the ghostly apparition shrouded in shadows. No, this was the Masumi of his memories, youthful yet wise, wrapped in the warmth of the sunlight. "Welcome, Hideki," she said softly, a smile blooming like spring flowers after winter's grasp. "This is a place for reflection, healing, and choices." "What do you mean?" Hideki's voice trembled, but there was no fear, only anticipation thrumming beneath his skin. "Here, you can confront everything. The shadows, the regret, and the hope you've held on to." She gestured around, the beauty of the field speaking of untold stories, both bitter and sweet. "You have discovered the truth, and now you must decide what to do with it." Hiro stepped forward, his expression a mixture of defiance and yearning. "And what if we choose differently this time? What if we decide not to be trapped by our past?" Masumi nodded, her gaze unwavering. "That's exactly it. This place holds your power. Embrace your choices and allow them to free you." Hideki felt a stirring deep within, recognizing the weight of the truth he carried. The memories of betrayal flickered before him, but alongside them arose dreams he once clung to. The hope for love, forgiveness, and a future filled with uncharted paths. "I choose," he began, voice trembling but firm. "I choose to let go of the guilt, to know that I am not defined by my past mistakes. And I choose to stand beside you," Hiro added, his hand reaching for Hideki's. "We face this together." A smile unfurled on Masumi's lips, genuine and proud. "So be it. Your intentions guide this journey, your connection strengthens it." As they joined hands, the air shimmered around them, a whirl of colors emanating from their clasped fingers. The petals scattered in a magnificent dance, swirling around them as the field transformed into a cascade of memories, a blend of hopes fulfilled and dreams yet to be chased. The shadows of regret flickered at the edges but began to dissolve, replaced by laughter, warmth, and the thrill of possibility. Hideki felt the burdens lift, the past intertwining with the present without overwhelming him. They were just pieces of a puzzle he was now ready to complete. "Together," he whispered, breathless with renewed conviction. "Always," Hiro replied, determination shining in his eyes. And as they faced the gathering light, the essence of Masumi enveloped them, a comforting presence that assured them they were not alone. For in this moment they had truly embraced their truth, the beauty intertwined with pain, the bonds that held them firm, the choices that gave them wings. They stepped forward into the light, ready to forge a new chapter not just for themselves, but for every soul that came before them, each bearing their own shadows and light. As the last rays of the sun sank below the horizon, Hideki understood. Life was never meant to be defined by chains. Instead, it was a canvas, each choice an opportunity to paint anew. Their journey was only beginning, bold, bright, and undeniably theirs. Now, as the sun dipped low, a flicker of excitement coursed through him. Let us discover what lies ahead. And with that, hand in hand, They stepped into the unfolding dawn ready to embrace whatever awaited them with open hearts and unshakable resolve. If you loved this journey, you need to subscribe now. Don't you dare miss the next exclusive stories that will blow your mind. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and support your favorite channel. Share your reactions and theories in the comments. I want to hear from you about what this ending means. And remember, don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Let us spread this story far and wide.